This podcast explores 15 remarkable ancient structures that, despite being built thousands of years ago, are still functioning today. From Roman aqueducts and bridges to theaters, baths, lighthouses, and even the Colosseum. Each monument demonstrates the ingenuity, resilience, and adaptability of ancient engineering, many of which continue to serve practical, cultural, or ceremonial purposes in modern times. But what unique stories and engineering secrets lie within each of these enduring marvels?
You know, some things are just built to be replaced. They're disposable. But other things, they're built to last. Today we're diving into some absolute marvels of ancient engineering, structures that have stared down the centuries and, incredibly, are still working. Let's find out how they did it.
I mean, really think about that. How do you build something that doesn't just survive, but actually keeps doing its job for thousands of years, through the rise and fall of empires, through countless changes in society? How is that even possible? Well, the Romans had some answers. And here's the kicker. They didn't have supercomputers or space-age materials. What they had was a really deep understanding of the world around them, a mastery of basic physics, and honestly, an obsession with solving big problems in the smartest way possible. And what's a bigger, more fundamental problem than water? Right? For any city, for any civilization to grow, you need a steady, reliable source of fresh water. The Romans didn't just solve this problem, they pretty much perfected it. Enter the aqueduct. Now, its power wasn't in some kind of complicated pump system. Nope. The whole thing ran on one simple, totally inescapable force: gravity. All they had to do was create this incredibly gentle, almost invisible downward slope over miles and miles, and they can move millions of gallons of water without lifting a finger. And this is where it gets just mind-blowing. If you look at the Aqueduct of Segovia in Spain, those gigantic granite blocks aren't held together by any mortar, not a bit. They're just so perfectly cut and fitted that their own weight and friction locks them in place. It's an absolute masterpiece of precision. The scale is it's hard to wrap your head around. This thing carried water all the way from the Frio River to the city of Segovia. That's a journey of about 17 kilometers or over 10 miles. Incredible. So at the end of the day, it's about this beautiful simplicity. A massive, enduring structure, a literal lifeline for a whole city, all designed to work with one of the most basic laws of nature. It's proof that sometimes the smartest way to build is also the simplest. Okay, so you solve the water problem, and what happens next? People show up. A lot of people. And this brought Roman engineers a brand new challenge. How do you manage enormous crowds of people? Let's talk about the Roman Colosseum. Its capacity is estimated to be as high as 80,000 people. Just let that sink in. That's the size of a huge modern-day football stadium. Getting that many people in and out safely is a logistical nightmare, even now. So how on earth did they do it? With no digital tickets, no electronic turnstiles, no modern crowd control. What was their secret? Well, they invented a system so effective, we're basically still using the same idea today. They called it the vomitorium. Yeah, the name is a little intense, but it's actually just Latin for, spewing forth. It was genius. The crowds would pour in through 80 different arches on the ground floor. Then, a whole maze of passageways and staircases would channel them up and in until they just emerged or vomited right out into their seats. The whole place could fill up or empty out in just a few minutes. And if that wasn't cool enough, right underneath the sandy floor of the arena was a whole other world, the Hypogeum. It was this complex underground network with tunnels and cages for gladiators and wild animals, and even these complex elevators and trap doors to hoist them up into the arena for a dramatic entrance. It was a spectacle factory down there. But Roman engineering wasn't just about building these amazing things in one city. It was about tying a whole vast empire together. They built infrastructure that could last for ages, making trade, communication, and travel possible across huge distances. Just look at the Roman Bridge of Cordoba. It was first built way back in the 1st century BCE. It's been a major river crossing for more than 2,000 years. It's been rebuilt, modified, and restored over the centuries, and today, it's a busy pedestrian bridge, still doing its job, still connecting the city. It was built to be used and adapted, not just looked at. Or get this, the Tower of Hercules in Spain. It's the oldest working lighthouse in the world. Back in the 1st century, the Romans built it and lit a giant bonfire on top to guide their ships. Today, it does the exact same job, it just uses an electric lamp to guide modern tankers. The core purpose is so essential that it's never changed, only the technology has. That's a direct, unbroken line of service for 2 millennia.
So when we look back at all these incredible structures, we're not just looking at old ruins. We're really looking at a masterclass in engineering. We're looking at a set of blueprints for how to build things that genuinely last.
So what's the playbook we can take away from all this? Well, it kind of boils down to a few key rules. First, they focused on solving one problem, and solving it perfectly, like the Colosseum's crowd control. They used strong, local materials that they knew inside and out, like those granite blocks in Segovia. They mastered simple physics, like the arch and the gradient, to let nature do most of the hard work. And maybe the most important lesson, they built things to be useful, to be adapted and maintained for centuries, not just to be perfectly preserved forever.
And you know, all of this leaves us with a really big question. As we build our own world, full of complex digital systems and things designed to be thrown away, what are we creating today that has that same kind of simplicity, that same durability and usefulness, to still be serving people 2,000 years from now? Something to think about, for sure.
Welcome, deep divers, to an exploration that might really reshape how we view history. Just imagine for a moment, not crumbling ruins, but structures engineered thousands of years ago. And they're not just standing there, silent witnesses, but actually serving a purpose in our world today, our bustling modern world.
Yeah.
How can engineering from millennia ago possibly, integrate with today's infrastructure? It's a pretty captivating thought, isn't it? Really challenges our ideas about obsolescence and progress.
It really is. And what's so compelling, I think, is that these aren't just leftovers from a bygone era.
Right.
They are, well, living testaments to this extraordinary foresight. Structures designed with such a deep understanding of materials, of purpose, that they just keep functioning, adapting.
And weaving themselves into modern life.
Exactly. They weave themselves in. It's like a continuous dialogue between the past and the present. It shows us that, real ingenuity built with care and real insight, it actually can defy time.
Precisely. So for this deep dive, our mission is basically to journey through 15 really astonishing examples of these ancient marvels.
15, wow.
Yeah, we're going deep. We'll look into everything from, say, gravity-defying aqueducts that still channel water, to these amazing fortified bridges with legendary pasts, even hidden sewers still draining modern cities.
Incredible range.
We're going to uncover the secrets of their longevity, the clever engineering principles that let them endure through centuries of change, social, political, environmental, and how they've managed to adapt to totally new eras and needs. Get ready for some truly surprising facts, and I promise a much deeper appreciation for what our ancestors could do.
And, this connects so powerfully to right now. In an age where, let's face it, so much seems designed to be thrown away.
Built-in obsolescence, yeah.
Exactly. These structures offer these invaluable lessons in durability and sustainability and, well, the profound impact of just really thoughtful design. They challenge us, I think, to consider the legacy of our own creations. What are we building that will last?
That's a crucial point, isn't it? Makes you wonder how these ancient builders, without our computers and, advanced materials, got such an enduring grasp of physics, hydrology, human needs.
It's fundamental understanding.
Let's start by exploring their mastery over maybe the most fundamental resource of all.
Water. We're calling this segment Masters of Water, Engineering for Lifeblood.
Perfect place to start.
Okay, our journey begins, as it so often does when we talk ancient infrastructure, with the Roman aqueduct of Segovia in Spain. Now, even for those familiar with Roman engineering marvels, Segovia's aqueduct seems to hold a unique place. What makes this structure, still so prominent today, stand out?
That's a great question because, well, there are many Roman aqueducts, but Segovia's is just exceptionally well preserved. And remarkably, it's still functional after more than 1,900 years.
1,900.
Yeah, and this wasn't just any Roman era. We're talking the height of the empire. Probably built late 1st or early 2nd century CE, likely under emperors like Trajan or Hadrian.
Right, peak Roman power. Exactly, building for the ages, its main purpose. To channel water over 17 kilometers, so about 10 miles, from the Frio River in the nearby mountains right into the heart of Segovia.
And it's those arches, those iconic double-tiered arches just captivate you. The visible city part stretches, about 800 meters?
Roughly, yes. Over 160 arches in that main section.
And the truly breathtaking part is they're made from granite blocks, fitted together without mortar.
Dry stone.
Some sections reach nearly 29 meters high. That's like a 9-story building just standing there, held by precision and gravity.
You nailed the core of its brilliance. It's that dry masonry technique combined with this incredibly subtle, consistent gradient. It relies purely on gravity to move the water.
No pumps, no complex machinery.
None. It's not just a clever trick. It's a really sophisticated understanding of hydrodynamics. It's a method modern civil engineers, still basically understand and use in different ways today. And for centuries, this was the source of drinking water for Segovia, the city's lifeblood.
It's just astonishing to think a structure that size, built without mortar, could handle 2 millennia of wear and tear. But how is something that massive actually maintained over all that time? What does its survival tell us about Roman long-term thinking?
Well, Segovia's longevity really speaks volumes about the audacity of Roman long-term vision. They weren't just building for, the next 50 years.
Right. They expected it to last.
They were embedding infrastructure that implicitly trusted future generations would maintain it. For instance, after centuries of working perfectly, it got damaged during conflicts with the Moors in the late medieval period.
Okay.
But remarkably, it was extensively repaired in the late 15th century. This was under the Catholic monarchs Isabella and Ferdinand.
Right.
And crucially, these repairs reused a lot of the original Roman masonry and stuck to the original design principles. That shows a real respect for the original engineering, which wasn't always common back then.
So it's not just a relic. It's still functioning today, you mentioned. Channeling water for fountains and maybe other non-drinking uses.
That's right. While modern plumbing handles most of the drinking water now, parts of the ancient system are still integrated. They feed fountains, gardens, other public uses.
What kind of challenges does something like that face now in the 21st century? Pollution, vibration.
Absolutely, those are big ones. Modern pollution, traffic vibrations from the city, even just the slow erosion over time. Preservation efforts in the 20th and 21st centuries have really intensified.
How do they do that?
They use advanced laser scanning, structural monitoring, basically tools to detect tiny movements or degradation so conservators can intervene very precisely. It highlights its dual role, you see. It's an invaluable monument, but also, surprisingly, still a functional conduit.
It really shows the lasting utility of Roman infrastructure. Built for now, but also for the future.
Exactly. Resilience was key.
That idea of resilience is definitely central.
Yeah.
And speaking of Roman aqueducts, the Pont du Gard in France often comes up. Another incredible example. How does its story compare or contrast with Segovia's in terms of, its enduring purpose?
The Pont du Gard. A magnificent structure and a great comparison. It shares that same narrative of Roman ambition and engineering skill. Also built in the 1st century CE, probably under Emperor Claudius.
Okay, similar time frame.
Yes. And it was part of an even longer system, almost 50 kilometers, supplying water from springs to the Roman colony of Nemausus. That's modern-day Nimes.
50 kilometer.
Mm-hmm. And the Pont du Gard itself is the most spectacular bridge section of that system. It spans the Garden River, and it's one of the highest Roman aqueducts ever built. It soars over 49 meters above the riverbed.
Almost 50 meters. That's just staggering.
Yeah.
And the architecture is brilliant. 3 tiers of arches getting smaller as they go up. That wasn't just for looks, was it? Mm-hmm. What was the genius behind that specific design? How did it ensure stability against, floods and maybe even earthquakes for centuries?
The tier design was pure engineering genius. It combined aesthetics with exceptional stability. The biggest, strongest arches are at the bottom, right?
Right, to handle the river.
Exactly. Resisting the powerful currents of the garden and providing this wide, solid foundation. The middle tier, with slightly smaller arches, distributes the weight downwards very effectively. And the top tier, the narrowest, carried the actual water channel.
Okay.
This staggered approach, plus the precision stone cutting and careful load distribution, made it incredibly resistant to lateral forces from floods and even seismic tremors, which are, not uncommon in that region. It really was built to last.
So it supplied water for over 5 centuries. Baths, fountains, homes. What happened after the Roman Empire declined? Did it just fall apart or find a new life?
Its usefulness went way beyond the Roman era. Even after Roman authority weakened in the 5th century, parts of the aqueduct were still used locally for water. But the bridge itself, it found this fascinating second life.
Oh, how so?
During the medieval period, because those lower arches were so wide and strong, it was repurposed as a toll bridge.
No way, a toll bridge.
Yeah, for foot traffic, carts. It became a really crucial economic link for local communities. The structure was just too valuable, too well built to abandon.
That's classic adaptive reuse, isn't it? From carrying water to carrying commerce, essentially.
Precisely.
I know restoration efforts in the 18th and 19th centuries were really important. Today, the full system isn't supplying Nîmes anymore, but it still channels some water, and you can actually walk across it.
That's right. Those 18th and 19th century restorations, especially under Napoleon III, were critical. They cleared away medieval additions and stabilized the structure. And yes, while it doesn't serve Nîmes' main water needs, a small section of the upper channel still carries water, just demonstrating those principles.
And you can walk on the lower levels.
You can, and it's an amazing experience feeling the sheer scale of it. The whole area around it is now an archaeological park, offering insights into Roman water management. It's a powerful educational tool, connecting people directly to a 2,000-year-old engineering feat.
From these huge gravity-fed systems, let's pivot a bit. Let's look at a different kind of water engineering. The Archimedes screw at Hama in Syria. This is a brilliant example of ancient lift technology working in arid lands. Very different context.
Absolutely. It shows the adaptability of ancient engineering. The Archimedes screw, credited to Archimedes himself back in the 3rd century BCE.
Right, the famous Greek inventor.
Exactly. The versions we see in Hama demonstrate those same ancient principles. Some might have been installed during the Roman or later Byzantine periods, but the concept is ancient. These devices are basically a helical surface, like a giant screw thread, inside a cylinder.
Okay.
When you rotate it, manually or maybe mechanically, the helix lifts water up from the Orontes River against gravity to higher ground for farming. Simple, but genius.
It is beautifully simple, yet so effective. Hama is also famous for those huge wooden water wheels, the Norias, right? Some date back to the 13th century, but on even older foundations. Did the screws and the Norias work together?
They absolutely did. They formed this kind of sophisticated, multi-layered hydraulic system. This combo of wheels and screws was crucial for central Syria's landscape. Unlike aqueducts, which are great for moving water horizontally.
Like Segovia or Pontegard.
Right. These mechanisms provided essential vertical lift. They raised water into elevated channels or troughs, irrigating fields and orchards on higher ground, basically creating fertile land where it wouldn't naturally exist. It's a critical adaptation to a landscape with vertical challenges. Targeted, effective solutions to local problems.
That's a great point. Engineering tailored to the environment, enabling agriculture, enabling settlement. And the basic design of these screws, I understand, is pretty much unchanged. Similar ideas are used in modern irrigation.
It really is. Their enduring design, almost the same for millennia, just shows the power of simplicity and effectiveness. These aren't complex machines. They rely on basic physics, which makes them robust, easy to maintain over huge periods.
What about their condition now, given the situation in Syria?
Well, sadly, the conflict has threatened many of Hamas' historic structures, but efforts have been made to preserve both the Norias and these older Archimedes screw mechanisms where possible. They still serve as educational tools, showing visitors and engineers how ancient civilizations tackled fundamental water challenges. Their continued, though limited, operation really highlights the practicality of ancient tech and its surprising relevance. Elegant, functional design transcending millennia.
From the practical needs of irrigation, let's move to maybe more indulgent but still vital uses of water. Our next stop takes us across the Roman Empire again, to a place pretty much synonymous with water and wellness. The Roman Baths of Bath in England.
Ah, baths.
One of the most significant surviving Roman bath complexes, and still influences modern spa culture almost 2,000 years later.
This site is truly exceptional. It weaves together geology, spirituality, and some really sophisticated engineering. Built around 70 CE during Roman Britain.
Right.
The baths were developed around natural hot springs. They bubble up at a constant, very inviting temperature of about 115 Fahrenheit, 46 Celsius.
That's quite warm.
It is, and the Romans, being both practical and spiritual, saw these springs as sacred. They dedicated them to a combined Romano-Celtic goddess, Sulis Minerva, and then they built this huge bathing and temple complex around them. It became a major religious and social hub for the whole province.
Beyond the luxury, the hydroengineering must have been amazing. How did they harness and distribute all that natural hot spring water so effectively without modern pumps? Can you paint a picture of how that system worked?
It's a perfect example of Romans using natural forces. The original complex included the magnificent Great Bath, changing rooms, heated chambers, the Caldarian and Tepid, and this really sophisticated network of lead pipes and drains.
Lead pipes, okay.
Yes, comment then. They mostly relied on the natural pressure from the springs and carefully calculated gravity-fed gradients to circulate the water. Hot spring water was channeled into reservoirs, then directed through the lead pipes to fill the various pools. And then an intricate system of drains carried the used water away, down into the nearby river Avon. It was a marvel of planning constant, fresh, hot water, efficient waste removal.
It really is remarkable. But after Roman Britain fell, around the 5th century, the baths fell into disuse, got buried under silt, medieval buildings. But the story didn't end there. They were rediscovered quite dramatically in the 18th century.
That's right. The rediscovery was largely accidental, happening during building projects in the 18th century as Bath was booming into this fashionable Georgian spa town.
Ah, the Georgian era.
Exactly. Workers digging foundations kept hitting significant Roman remains. This sparked a huge wave of archaeological interest and preservation. And interestingly, instead of just digging it all up and putting it in a museum,
They incorporated it.
yes, they made a conscious decision to incorporate the remarkably preserved Roman foundations and stonework into the new public bath facilities being built above and around the ancient site. A very early example of heritage conservation influencing modern development.
And this is maybe the most compelling part. Today, the Roman bath site is mainly a museum. You can see the original pools, the heating systems, artifacts.
Yeah.
But you can't actually bathe in those historic pools, right, for conservation.
Correct. Too fragile and water quality concerns.
But the nearby Thermae Bath Spa use the exact same spring water for public bathing.
That's the profound connection.
So a tradition started by the Romans almost 2,000 years ago is literally still alive and well.
It is. It's a rare and powerful example of ancient hydroengineering directly influencing and supporting modern spa culture. It's not just a relic we look at, it's a living link to an ancient wellness tradition that still draws people for healing and relaxation. It really speaks to that enduring human desire for health, met by a resource and ingenuity that just transcends time.
Such a perfect example of continuity. Okay, so from managing vital resources like water, ancient engineers also excelled at creating spaces for public life, for community interaction, basically laying the groundwork for how we gather and move today. Let's transition now to foundations of public life. Theaters, arenas, and bridges for connection.
Great transition from water to public spaces.
Our next stop takes us back to Rome itself, to the Theater of Marcellus. Completed way back in 13 BCE under Emperor Augustus, named after his nephew.
Marcus Claudius Marcellus, yes.
This is one of Rome's oldest surviving stone theaters. And incredibly, it's still in use today, although for very different things.
It's a truly compelling case study in architectural resilience and adaptive reuse. Originally, this theater was a huge statement, designed for plays, music, public entertainments. It could seat between 11,000 and maybe 20,000 people.
Huge audience.
Massive. It's semicircular design, tiered seating, excellent acoustics. It really exemplifies the Roman approach to entertainment architecture. It set a blueprint that influenced countless other theaters and amphitheaters across the empire.
What was it built from?
Primarily tufa and concrete, faced with elegant travertine stone. It originally had 3 levels of arches, Doric columns on the bottom, Ionic above that, and probably Corinthian on the very top level. A really harmonious blend of function and monumental style.
That's fascinating how it served as a model. Beyond its looks, how did the design specifically handle those huge crowds? What did the Romans understand about crowd flow and acoustics that we still admire?
They were masters of crowd management. The semicircular shape gave great sight lines, but the network of entrances and staircases leading to different seating sections allowed for incredibly efficient entry and exit, even for tens of thousands.
The famous vomitoria again.
Not quite the same term as for amphitheaters, but the principle of multiple, well-placed access points was key. For acoustics, the materials stone, concrete, plus the geometry of the seating and the stage wall helped project sound naturally. They just intuitively understood sound in open-air venues.
But like many ancient structures, it fell into disrepair after the Western Roman Empire collapsed. And this is where its story gets really interesting. It didn't just crumble. Over centuries, it got repurposed. Tell us about its transformation from a grand theater to, unbelievably, a private apartment building.
This adaptive reuse is exactly what saved it. After its original use stopped around the 4th century, it became a source of building materials, sure, but its sturdy structure was also seen as valuable. During the chaotic medieval period, powerful Roman families turned it into a fortress, using its strong arches for defense.
Right, makes sense.
Then later, it became a private palace, owned first by the Savelli family, then the Orsini. and they built residential apartments directly into the Roman structure.
People lived in the theater.
Literally lived within the ancient arcades. And incredibly, some of those apartments are still occupied today.
That is wild. It's a living monument, layers of history. The lower Roman arcades still visible, people living above. And today, I understand it's a modern cultural hub, hosts concerts.
It does. Rome's summer concert series uses it. They set up an open-air stage carefully within the ruins, taking advantage of the original layout for its acoustics and dramatic backdrop. You can walk around the outside, see the arches, and really grasp how history is layered onto this Roman foundation. It's a beautiful example of history not being static, but a dynamic space still serving as a public forum.
From one Roman entertainment venue to another, let's head south again, to the Arena of Nimes in France. Another one of the best preserved Roman amphitheaters globally, and it's still a public event space nearly 2,000 years on.
This amphitheater, built around 70 CE under Emperor Vespasian.
Same emperor who started the Colosseum, right?
Yeah. Exactly. It was a powerful symbol of Roman culture in Gaul. Explicitly modeled on the Colosseum, though a bit smaller, about 130 meters long, 100 wide, seating maybe 24,000 spectators.
Still huge.
Oh, yes. Its purpose was gladiatorial games, wild beast hunts, venations, public spectacles, all those classic Roman entertainments designed to impress and, well, control the population.
And its design really shows Roman mastery. The elliptical shape for clear views, that complex system of passageways, stairs, and the vomitory exits, allowing crowds to get in and out fast. What were the specific challenges of moving 24,000 people safely and quickly back then?
It was a masterclass in crowd control. The ellipse minimized line spots. Tiered seating maximized capacity. But the vomitoria were the key innovation. These wide, vaulted corridors and stairs let people stream in and out rapidly, preventing jams and panic.
Smart.
Very smart. A sophisticated architectural solution to a logistics problem, both spectacle and safety. It was built of local limestone, a strong, available material, which helped it survive centuries of use and weather.
After the Western Roman Empire fell, like the Theater of Marcellus, it got repurposed. First for defense, then later, amazingly, as a residential area with houses and chapels inside its walls.
Incredible transformation, isn't it? It became a vital defensive fort for the Visigoths, then local feudal lords. They fortified it, using its massive stone structure as a ready-made citadel.
A fortress.
Then, in the Middle Ages, as the city grew, the arena's interior became this densely packed neighborhood. A real city within a city, hundreds of people living there, narrow streets, shops, even 2 churches inside the arena walls.
Wow.
This adaptation, while it hid the original form, ironically protected it from being torn down completely. Then in the 18th and 19th centuries, with renewed interest in antiquity, those later additions were systematically removed. Extensive restorations aimed to bring it back to its Roman glory.
And today, it's alive. Concerts, festivals, Roman game reenactments, even bullfights during the annual Ferias, which I gather is a 19th century tradition.
That's right. The bullfighting connection is more recent, relatively speaking. But yes, it's a vibrant venue. Modern seating and safety features are integrated carefully, respecting the structure. It functions much as it did originally, a place for large crowds to gather for public entertainment.
So its role as a performance venue keeps its original purpose alive, in a way.
Absolutely. Modern changes are minimal, reversible. It truly bridges ancient Rome and contemporary France, showing how a space can evolve in use, but keep its fundamental community spirit.
Let's stay in southern France and visit the Roman Theater of Orange. Another remarkable example, built early 1st century CE, probably under Augustus, part of Rome's effort to spread its culture in newly conquered Gaul.
That's a crucial point about Roman expansion. Theaters weren't just for fun, they were cultural tools, disseminating Roman language, values, traditions, helping Romanize new territories. Orange, or Osseo back then, was a Roman colony for veterans, so this theater was a very deliberate instrument of cultural consolidation.
Makes sense.
Architecturally, it follows the standard Roman theater design. About 103 meters wide, 37 high, semicircular, seating the cavea for maybe 5,000 to 7,000 people.
But its most famous feature is that huge stage wall, the skinny fronds, nearly 37 meters high, originally with columns, niches, statues, including a massive one of Augustus himself.
Yes, that stage wall is iconic. It must have been an absolutely awe-inspiring backdrop.
What did that elaborate stage communicate to the audience back then?
Pure imperial propaganda and theatrical grandeur. It wasn't just a backdrop, it was part of the show, meant to impress. The statues, especially Augustus, visually screamed the power, stability, and divine backing of the Roman Empire. It created this illusion of a grand palace or city street, enhancing the drama.
What kind of performances happened there?
All sorts. Plays, pantomimes, music, public ceremonies. Roman theaters were central to civic and religious festivals, many tied to worshiping the emperor.
And the acoustics, I've heard they're incredible even today. Minimal amplification needed for big shows. How do they manage that?
It's testament to their understanding of architectural acoustics. The semicircle shape naturally focuses sound. That high, solid sine frons acts like a giant sound mirror, bouncing voices forward. The stone materials helped contain and direct sound, too.
So even without microphones, everyone could hear.
Pretty much. Even speakers or singers on stage could be heard clearly throughout. Fostered a real communal experience. Like other Roman sites, it fell into disuse after the 5th century, but its strong structure became valuable in the Middle Ages. Houses were built inside it, again, ensuring it survived physically.
Its rediscovery and restoration picked up in the 19th century, driven by that renewed interest in classical history.
Exactly. The French government started extensive preservation work, stabilizing it, getting it ready for performance use again. And today, it's famous for hosting an annual opera festival, drawing audiences from all over the world.
So it's still spreading culture, just like it was meant to, opera instead of Roman plays.
That's the amazing continuity. It shows how ancient structures, when preserved and adapted well, can stay vital parts of modern life, offering these unique windows into the past while serving contemporary cultural needs. It's a symbol of how shared human experiences, storytelling, music, gathering transcend time.
Now, let's shift from spectacle to something maybe more fundamentally essential. The Roman Bridge of Cordoba in Spain, the Puente Romano. Ancient structure crossing the Guadalquivir River, built way back in the early 1st century BCE, Roman Republic era, part of the Via Augusta.
What's truly remarkable about the Cordoba Bridge is just its continuous function. It stretches about 247 meters, 16 arches, originally all stone, and it served as Cordoba's main river crossing for nearly 2,000 years.
3,000 years, nonstop.
Pretty much nonstop. It never ceased its basic purpose. That's just an astonishing testament to the original design, the construction quality, and the ongoing care it received. Imagine the sheer volume of traffic feet, hooves, wheels over 2 millennia.
It's mind-boggling. Of course, anything that old must have had many restorations. You mentioned its layered history. Can you give examples of how, say, the Moors or later medieval and Renaissance authorities modified it? Did they blend styles?
It became this fascinating physical record, a palimpsest of Cordoba's history. While the foundations and some piers are still Roman, the Moors, ruling from the 8th century, did extensive rebuilding. They didn't just patch it up, they left their mark. Subtly changing arch shapes, refining stonework, maybe adding decorative elements or inscriptions reflecting Islamic architecture, but blending it with the Roman base.
So Roman and Islamic styles merged.
In a way, yes. Later, medieval and Renaissance powers also repaired and modified it, often reusing Roman foundations, but adding their own touches, like that Baroque statue of St. Raphael you see in the middle now. Different civilizations literally building on each other's work.
So it stayed Cordoba's main crossing until fairly recently, facilitating trade, military movement, city life.
Right up until the mid-20th century, when the San Rafael Bridge was built nearby. Today, it's pedestrianized, which was crucial for preservation.
Ah, no more cars. Smart.
Definitely. Current conservation focuses on stabilizing it against the Guadalquivir's floods and erosion. But it's not just a tourist site. It's vital to the city's identity, connecting the historic center, the famous Great Mosque Cathedral, with the areas across the river. Its original purpose as a crossing is fundamentally intact. One of the longest-serving Roman bridges still in operation anywhere. A true living link to the past.
From Roman engineering, let's jump forward to medieval fortification. Our next bridge has a devilishly charming story. The Pont Valentré in Cahors, France.
Ah, yes, the Devil's Bridge.
A fortified medieval bridge over the Lot River. Took 70 years to build, 1308 to 1378. A rare, stunning example of medieval military engineering, still part of a modern city.
It came out of a really specific, turbulent time. Cahors was a big deal in the 12th and 13th centuries, trade, banking, military strategy. The Lot River was useful for transport, but also a weak point in defense. So the Pont Valentré had this crucial dual role, secure crossing for merchants, but also a massive defensive barrier against invaders, especially during the 100 Years' War.
And its design screams fortification. 172 meters long, 6 pointed arches, and those 3 huge square towers rising dramatically over the river. Can you describe the defenses? How do they work?
Those 3 towers were the key. 2 at the ends, 1 in the middle. Each originally had strong gates, portcullises, reinforced doors designed to be sealed tight during a siege. The central tower, the Devil's Tower, gave archers and lookouts a commanding view of the whole crossing.
High ground.
Exactly. The roadway itself is quite narrow, and the towers are imposing. Any attackers would be funneled into this kill zone, facing fire from multiple angles. Classic 14th century Gothic engineering, functional, intimidating beauty. And those defensive features are mostly still there today. A powerful glimpse into medieval warfare.
What really grabs people is the legend about its long construction, the Devil's Pack story. Can you share that tale and how it's actually etched into the bridge?
It's fantastic local folklore. The story goes, construction dragged on so long, the master builder got desperate and made a pact with the devil, his soul, in exchange for finishing the bridge quickly. The devil agreed. But when the bridge was done, the builder, being clever, tricked him. He ordered the devil to fetch water using a sieve, obviously impossible.
Nice one.
The devil was furious at being tricked. So the legend says he sought revenge by loosening 1 stone from the central tower every single night, meaning the bridge could never be truly finished.
And the best part.
During restoration work in the late 19th century, the architect, a guy named Paul Gout, actually added a small carved figure of a devil clutching a loose stone onto that central tower.
You put the legend right on the bridge.
Exactly. Commemorating the story for everyone to see. It's wonderful.
That's brilliant. The bridge had major restorations in the late 19th century, rebuilding battlements, reinforcing it, became a UNESCO site in '98. It's pedestrianized now. How does it still fulfill its original purpose and connect generations?
Pedestrianization protects it, but also lets people experience it like medieval travelers did on foot. It still functions as a crossing, vital to Cahors' identity. But now it's also a focus for cultural events, festivals, historical stuff. Standing on those old stones, you really feel the connection to everyone who crossed before: merchants, pilgrims, soldiers, now us, all linked by this bridge, whose purpose endured for nearly 700 years. It holds stories.
From functional infrastructure like bridges, let's move now to the sacred, the truly monumental, where human ambition really soared to create spaces of profound spiritual and cultural weight. Let's dive into enduring sanctuaries and civic hubs, temples, basilicas, and cathedrals.
Monumental indeed.
And where better to start than with, well, the ultimate symbol of Western civilization? The Parthenon in Athens, Greece, completed 432 BCE on the Acropolis. An enduring icon of ancient Greek architecture and incredibly still structurally functional despite centuries of damage.
The Parthenon really is the pinnacle of ancient Greek architecture. Originally a temple to Athena, Athens' patron goddess, designed by Aetinus and Callicrates under the artistic eye of the great sculptor Phidias.
Right. The dream team.
Absolutely. And its design used incredibly advanced math and optical refinements, things that trick the eye. Subtle curvature in horizontal lines and entasis in the columns.
Entasis, that slight bulge in the columns. Explain that again for us. What optical illusions were they correcting? How did it create that look of perfect symmetry?
Okay, so if the Parthenon's columns were perfectly straight cylinders from a distance, they'd actually look like they curve inwards slightly in the middle, like they're thinner.
Huh, weird. Our eyes play tricks.
Exactly. And the long horizontal lines, like the base it sits on, the stylobate, if it were perfectly flat, it would appear to sag in the middle.
Right, like it's drooping.
So the architects cleverly counteracted this. They gave the columns that slight convex bulge, the entasis, so they appear perfectly straight and strong. And they made the stylobate subtly higher in the middle than at the ends, so it looks perfectly level. These tiny deviations from true straight lines create this illusion of absolute geometric perfection. It gives it a sense of dynamic energy, not static weight. Astounding sophistication.
An optical masterpiece, really showing how well they understood human perception.
Yeah.
What's also incredible is how its purpose shifted over time. Greek temple, then Christian church, even an Ottoman mosque. What does that tell us about its significance?
Those transformations are powerful proof of its enduring importance and the changing tides of history. For nearly 1,000 years, it was a pagan temple to Athena Parthenos. Then, around the 6th century CE, converted into a Christian church for the Virgin Mary. Altars added, different iconography. After the Ottoman conquest in the 15th century, it became a mosque. They even added a minaret to one corner. Each time, the building was adapted for new rituals, new beliefs. Yet the fundamental structure remained, showing its immense spiritual and architectural power for different cultures.
But that continuity was violently broken in 1687. Conflict between Venice and the Ottomans. The Ottomans were storing ammunition inside.
Yes, tragically, and it exploded.
A catastrophic event blew out the middle section, the roof. Yet, incredibly, the structural core, many columns, remained standing. What does that say about the original construction?
That 1687 explosion was devastating. But the fact that the core structure, the inner walls, the cella, and many of those massive perimeter columns stayed up speaks volumes about the incredible integrity and precision of that dry masonry construction.
Like Segovia's aqueduct again.
Exactly. Massive marble blocks fitted with unbelievable accuracy, secured with iron clamps, originally bronze actually, which caused less damage over time because it expanded less. This allowed it to absorb that massive shock wave and stay largely upright. Robust, thoughtful construction can withstand incredible forces.
It's no longer a temple, obviously, but it still functions as a load-bearing structure, an active archaeological site.
Yeah.
Restorations have been ongoing since the 70s, trying to stabilize what's left. Is it used for any ceremonies today? What's its role for modern Greece?
It is indeed structurally sound in its current state. Restoration efforts use this philosophy called anastylosis, basically, rebuilding using the original fallen pieces wherever possible. Very meticulous work to stabilize columns, beams, pediments. While it's mainly an archaeological monument, a huge tourist draw. It does occasionally host state or cultural ceremonies. It's a hugely powerful focal point for Greek national identity, a symbol of democracy's birthplace. The fact that its core still stands, supporting restored parts, enduring earthquakes, shows the lasting genius of Greek engineering. It's truly a symbol of civilization defying time, a reminder of our quest for beauty, order, meaning.
From the Acropolis, let's travel east to the Golden Horn, to Istanbul, Turkey, and the Hagia Sophia. One of the most enduring achievements of the Byzantine Empire, fully functional almost 1,500 years after completion.
The Hagia Sophia, built with astonishing speed just 5 years, 532 to 537 CE, under Emperor Justinian I. It was Constantinople's main cathedral for nearly 1,000 years, and architecturally it was revolutionary, especially that massive central dome.
The floating dome.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Spanning 31 meters, it seems to float because of that ring of 40 windows right at its base. Light streams in, dematerializing the weight, an ethereal effect. This design profoundly influenced church and mosque architecture for centuries.
31 meters is huge for a dome back then. What specific engineering challenges did the architects Anthemius Atrales and Isidore of Miletus overcome? How did they put that massive round dome on a square base?
That was the immense challenge. Putting a huge circle on a square base at that scale hadn't really been done successfully before. Their solution was the ingenious use of pendentives.
Pendentives.
Think of them as curved, triangular elements that transition smoothly from the square corners of the main piers up to the circular base of the dome. They funnel the dome's massive weight down onto 4 enormous stone piers. This created that feeling of vast open space underneath, seemingly uninterrupted. A groundbreaking structural leap that defined Byzantine architecture and influenced countless later buildings, including many Ottoman mosques.
And its purpose, like the Parthenon, shifted dramatically. Cathedral, then after the Ottoman conquest in 1453, a mosque. Minarets were added. Then in 1935, under the Turkish Republic, it became a museum, preserving both Christian mosaics and Islamic calligraphy.
Side by side, which was remarkable. And that historical fluidity continued. In 2020, it was reconverted back into a functioning mosque.
Right, that was recent news.
Yes. Though it remains open to visitors, a major cultural site. What's truly incredible is how well preserved the structure is, despite its age and all the earthquakes in that region.
How did it survive the earthquakes?
The construction used not just massive piers, but also surprisingly lightweight brick and special mortar in the dome itself, plus a sophisticated understanding of load distribution. Restorations over centuries repaired earthquake damage, stabilized cracks, and meticulously preserved the stunning mosaics and marble work, ensuring it could continue to be used.
So it really has this dual identity now. A functioning mosque with regular prayers, but also a massive cultural monument visited by millions. It's one of those rare ancient structures still fulfilling a communal function somewhat similar to its original intent, a place of worship, while also bridging cultures and eras.
Precisely. It embodies this complex story of faith, conquest, cultural blending. Its ability to adapt its function while keeping its architectural integrity shows profound resilience. It's a sacred space, a historical monument, an ongoing center for community life. Bridging Byzantine Christian and Ottoman Islamic traditions, a powerful symbol of Istanbul's incredibly rich, layered history.
Our next sacred space takes us west again to Ravenna, Italy. The Basilica of San Vitale, an incredibly important survivor of early Christian Byzantine art and architecture, completed 547 CE, also under Justinian, and still an active church almost 15 centuries later.
San Vitale is a superb example of how Roman building techniques blended with Eastern artistic styles to define the early Byzantine world in the West. Ravenna's history is key here. It was a capital of the Western Roman Empire in the 5th century, then the Ostrogothic capital, then the center of Byzantine power in Italy.
A real crossroads.
Exactly. San Vitale reflects this dynamic mix. It shows the continuity of Roman traditions, but also the rise of Byzantine art and politics.
And it's most famous for its interior decoration, right? Those incredible mosaics in the apse and choir, made from vibrant glass pieces, among the best Byzantine art anywhere. They must have been stunning then, and still are.
Absolutely breathtaking. The most famous panels show Emperor Justinian and Empress Theodora with their entourages, courtiers, soldiers, clergy. These aren't just portraits. They're powerful visual statements about authority, divine approval, reinforcing that close link between church and state in Byzantium.
How so?
The emperor and empress are shown offering gifts like they're part of the church service itself. It asserts their legitimacy, their piety to everyone who walks in.
Architecturally, it mixes Roman and Byzantine styles. Lightweight brick walls to get height, and a dome built without centering. Explain that building a dome without temporary wooden supports, that sounds impossible.
It was an extraordinary technique. Normally, domes were built over a wooden frame, the centering, which held it up until the mortar set. But San Vitale's dome was made mostly of hollow ceramic tubes laid in a spiral pattern.
Hollow tubes, so it was lighter.
Much lighter. This allowed them to build it incrementally, layer by layer, gradually locking itself into place as it rose without needing that extensive, heavy wooden framework underneath. It really shows Byzantine mastery of brick vaulting and innovative materials. And much of its marble cladding and carved capitals were actually imported from the Eastern Mediterranean, showing Ravenna's importance as a trade hub linking West and East.
While there are medieval additions like frescoes and altars showing how worship changed, the main structure and those amazing mosaics are largely untouched, like stepping back into the 6th century.
To a remarkable degree, yes. It's had restorations, of course, 19th and 20th century, dealing with structural issues, protecting the mosaics from dampness, keeping those colors vibrant. It became a UNESCO World Heritage Site in 1996, and today it's still an active Roman Catholic church. It hosts services, but it's also a major tourist draw. Pilgrims and art lovers come to see that serene interior where the shimmering mosaics still inspire, just like they did in Justinian's time.
These grand structures really define skylines and spiritual lives. But what about the, let's say, less glamorous but equally vital engineering that let ancient cities function from the ground up? Let's move to the urban core. Sanitation and spectacle shaping city life.
Yes, the hidden infrastructure.
Yeah.
Equally important.
We're going deep now, literally. Let's talk Cloaca Maxima in Rome, the ancient world's great sewer. One of the oldest, most remarkable feats of urban engineering, built way back in the 6th century BCE by Rome's Etruscan kings.
What's fascinating is its very practical origin, even before the Roman Republic. Early Rome was on the hills Palatine Capitoline, but the valley between them, the future Roman Forum, was just marshy swampland.
Prone to malaria flooding.
Exactly. Unusable. To make this crucial central area habitable, the Etruscan kings started digging open channels to drain the stagnant water into the Tiber River. Over the next centuries, especially under the Republic, the Romans lined these channels with stone and eventually vaulted them over, covered them up. It became this vital, hidden network for sanitation and flood control.
So it literally drained the swamp to create the forum, making that civic heart possible. The construction used huge blocks of tufa, later travertine, fitted without mortar, like Segovia again.
Yes, that incredibly precise dry masonry, characteristic of early Roman and Etruscan work. Each block had to fit perfectly, relying on compression and the sheer weight above to stay stable. This technique, plus the gentle, continuous slope they built into the tunnels.
With water flow.
Right, using gravity. It created structures that were incredibly durable, resistant to earthquakes and water erosion, labor-intensive, but built to last.
Let's talk public health. It wasn't a modern sanitary sewer, stormwater, and human waste weren't separated. It all flowed into the Tiber. But it was still revolutionary, right? Why? How did it let Rome grow so huge?
It was revolutionary because it moved vast amounts of waste and rainwater out of the city center, dramatically improving hygiene, cutting down disease, preventing local floods. Before this, waste just piled up or sat in the marshes. Its existence allowed Rome to become one of the most densely packed cities ever in antiquity, maybe over 1 million people at its peak.
1 million people.
Urban sanitation on that scale would have been impossible without something like the Cloaca Maxima. It was fundamental to Rome's growth and imperial success.
And here's the truly mind-blowing part. Bits of it kept working through the Middle Ages, sometimes rediscovered and cleared out, and sections are still functional today, integrated into Rome's modern drainage.
Astonishingly, yes. While Rome has modern sewers now, these ancient tunnels still play a crucial backup role, handling excess stormwater, some runoff, channeling it to the Tiber. Modern engineers actually study it, not just as history, but as a case study in sustainable infrastructure.
Proof that good design with robust materials can outlast civilizations.
Exactly. It shows Roman practical genius, prioritizing functional solutions. This system enabled the Forum to become the heart of the empire, and it set a precedent for urban sanitation across Europe.
Incredible. Most people walk right over it, totally unaware, while the Cloaca Maxima keeps doing its quiet work below. A hidden lifeline for millennia.
Holding the city together, quite literally.
Finally, we arrive at arguably the most iconic ancient monument of them all. The Colosseum in Rome. The Flavian Amphitheater. Heart of Rome, built 7280 CE under Emperors Vespasian and Titus. And nearly 2,000 years later, it still functions, in a limited way, hosting ceremonies, embodying Roman history.
The Colosseum's construction was hugely symbolic. It was deliberately built on the site of Emperor Nero's private lake, part of his extravagant Domus Aurea palace.
Right, after Nero's controversial reign.
Exactly. Building it there symbolized giving the land back to the Roman people, a grand public gesture. Even the name Colosseum probably comes from that colossal statue of Nero that stood nearby, modeled on the Colossus of Rhodes.
Its design for crowds was just a masterclass. 189 meters long, 156 wide, over 48 meters high, seating maybe 50,000 to 80,000 people. The elliptical shape gave everyone a good view. But those vomitoria, again, how did they let crowds get in and out in minutes?
It was unparalleled crowd control for its time. The ellipse shape, unlike a theater's semicircle, meant no bad seats, really, and maximized capacity. The vomitoria, literally passageways that discharge, were this brilliant network of radial and concentric corridors, ramps, staircases.
Like spokes on a wheel?
Sort of, yes.
Yeah.
They allowed spectators to flood in and out incredibly fast. Each ground-level arch was numbered, matching tickets, directing people to their specific section, tiered, segmented access, so efficient full house could supposedly empty in under 15 minutes. Modern stadiums still learn from it.
And the structure itself. Travertine limestone, concrete vaults, built to last.
Definitely. Robust radial walls and concrete vaults distributed the massive weight evenly, ensuring stability, helping it survive centuries of earthquakes.
And one of its most dramatic features was underground. The Hypogeum. That network of tunnels and chambers beneath the arena floor. Give us a sense of the logistics, the theatricality. What was it like down there?
The Hypogeum, the Colosseum's hidden engine room, a maze of tunnels, chambers, where gladiators, animals were held, where complex machinery operated to create those spectacular entrances. Imagine the sounds, roaring lions, clanking chains, nervous gladiators, all echoing in the dim light.
Intense.
They had wooden elevators, basically lifts run by ropes and pulleys. They'd hoist up scenery, animals, even gladiators through trapdoors onto the arena floor.
Appearing as if by magic.
Exactly. Incredible theatrical effects, making beasts or fighters materialize suddenly. The arena floor itself was wood covered in Santarena in Latin, where we get the word arena to soak up blood and give footing.
And the spectacles themselves, gladiators, animal hunts, executions, even mock sea battles when they flooded it. More than just entertainment.
Oh, much more. They were powerful instruments of imperial propaganda, showcasing the emperor's power, wealth, generosity, awe and control wrapped up in spectacle.
So a political statement as much as entertainment, designed to impress. After the Roman Empire declined, gladiator games stopped by the early 5th century, animal hunts by the 6th. But it didn't just crumble. It had this fascinating period of adaptive survival.
Its sheer size and strength saved it from total demolition. It became a resource. For centuries, it served as a fortress for powerful Roman families, a convenient quarry for building materials, which is why parts are missing today.
People recycled the stone.
Yes, and remarkably, even as housing for artisans, workshops. Small dwellings and businesses were built right into its arcades during the medieval period. These adaptations, while changing it, ensured its survival by embedding it into the city's evolving fabric.
Which brings us to its modern role. By the 18th, 19th centuries, growing interest in antiquity led to stabilization efforts. The popes declared it a sacred site, believing Christians were martyred there. Stations of the Cross were installed, a tradition continuing today with the Pope's Good Friday procession.
That recognition was crucial. It shifted perceptions, stopped people from carting off more stone. Today, the Colosseum is mainly this monumental tourist attraction, over 7 million visitors a year.
Staggering number.
But it also keeps that ceremonial function, occasionally hosts concerts, cultural events, all carefully managed to protect it. It stands as this incredible testament to adaptive reuse, Roman engineering brilliance, ongoing preservation, past and present coexisting. It's a monument to imperial ambition, a reminder of human cruelty, a site of Christian reverence, and a global cultural icon. Its survival through earthquakes, invasions, centuries of change truly shows the resilience of ancient architecture and the value of preservation.
Wow. What an incredible journey through these 15 structures. It really pulls together these enduring threads of human genius, doesn't it? Looking back at this deep dive, some powerful themes just keep recurring across the millennia.
Absolutely. The first, I think, has to be the sheer engineering brilliance. Just undeniable, whether it's the precise gravity feed of aqueducts, those clever water-lifting screws, the complex crowd mechanics of amphitheaters, or those earthquake-resistant domes. Their scientific, practical understanding of materials, physics, design, it was profound.
They had an intuitive grasp of principles modern engineers still use.
Or often rediscover, yes. They build with deep insight.
And then there's the incredible adaptability and resilience. These places didn't just passively survive, they evolved. Repurposed as fortresses, homes, toll bridges, concert venues. They show the amazing power of adaptive reuse, extending a structure's life way beyond its original plan, teaching us that even great creations can have multiple, unexpected lives.
And finally, their lasting cultural and civic significance. From worship sites and entertainment hubs to vital infrastructure for trade, sanitation, these buildings were absolutely central to community life.
The heart of their cities.
Exactly. More than just stone and mortar, they reflected collective needs, aspirations. And in many cases, they still do, reminding us that our built environment mirrors who we are.
It's truly humbling. It makes you think. As you look around at the world we're building today, what structures do you, listening right now, think will still be standing, still working, still telling our story in 500,000, maybe even 2,000 years?
That's the challenge they pose, isn't it?
These ancient marvels aren't just relics. They are living testaments to human ingenuity, enduring potential. They challenge us to consider the legacy of our own creations with perhaps greater foresight, a deeper commitment to lasting quality. Thank you for joining us on The Deep Dive. We'll see you next time.
Okay, let's unpack this. Have you ever looked at an ancient ruin and thought, wow, pretty impressive, it's still standing, right? But then have you ever stopped to wonder, what if it was still working? Welcome to The Deep Dive. We take your sources today at some fascinating insights from top fives about ancient structures, and we really dig into what makes them tick. And today, we're diving into 15 incredible ancient marvels that are actually still functioning.
It's pretty captivating stuff. What gets me isn't just the scale, though that's impressive, but the foresight these structures show. So our mission today is to look at the engineering, the adaptability, the sheer human will that let these things survive millennia. And often, they're still doing the job they were built for, or maybe they've evolved a bit.
Right, we're basically going to pull back the curtain on the hidden genius of these ancient builders, give you a totally fresh perspective, maybe on the foundations of our world. Get ready for some genuinely surprising moments, I think. So where should we start? Maybe with mastering water. Ancient civilizations had some amazing tricks for both flow and lift. When you think Roman engineering and water, I mean, the aqueduct of Segovia in Spain has to be top of mind, doesn't it? It's not just some old relic. It's like woven right into the modern city.
Oh, absolutely. Segovia is astonishing because it's still useful. Built late 1st, early 2nd century CE, I think Emperor Trajan, maybe Hadrian. It was designed to bring water 17 kilometers. all the way from the Frio River.
17 kilometers.
And the bit you see in the city, that's 800 meters long. Over 160 granite arches, no mortar holding them together.
No mortar.
None, just perfectly cut stone. And some of those arches are almost 29 meters high. The genius is in that incredibly subtle gradient, moving water just by gravity. And the strength of those arches is pure physics.
Okay, hold on. No mortar, 160 arches, standing almost 2,000 years. The logistics alone, sourcing that granite, cutting it so precisely, getting it up there without, modern cranes.
It tells you volumes, doesn't it? About their grasp of physics, stress distribution. They had to be meticulous with the stone cutting because there was no mortar to fudge things. Each block had to interlock perfectly, spread the load. This wasn't just, let's get water here now. It was built for resilience, built to last.
And parts of it still work.
Yep, still channeling water for some public fountains today. Integrated right in.
That's just incredible. Okay, so gravity was the Roman go-to, their elegant solution. But what about flatter areas? How did they manage water then? This takes us somewhere completely different, right? The Archimedes screw in Hama, Syria.
Exactly. A different problem, different solution. Here we see this brilliantly simple but super effective design. Archimedes might have invented it way back in the 3rd century BCE, but the ones in Hama, they popped up during the Roman and Byzantine times. Their job was to lift water up from the Orontes River, vertically.
How does it actually work?
Well, picture a screw, like a big corkscrew, inside a cylinder. You turn the screw, and it basically scoops up water at the bottom and carries it up to the top as it rotates.
Ah, okay. So totally different from an aqueduct needing a slope. This screw thing was essential for central Syria's terrain, getting water uphill for farms and drinking. And Hama is also famous for those giant wooden water wheels, the Norias, right? Some are really old, too.
That's right. Some Norias date back to the 13th century, built on even older foundations. It's this combination of technologies, practical, enduring ways to solve a basic need.
And the screws are still going.
They are. Still irrigating fields, providing water in Hama. And it's not just a quaint historical thing. Similar screw designs used all over the world today. Modern irrigation, even wastewater plants. It's just a fundamental mechanical principle. So good, so simple, it hasn't really been bettered for that specific job.
Okay, for moving water to guiding ships, can you actually imagine a structure fulfilling its exact original purpose for nearly 2,000 years? That's the Tower of Hercules, isn't it? In A Coruña, Spain.
It really is in a class of its own. A Roman lighthouse, built late 1st century CE, under Trajan again. Right. It was originally called the Pharos Brigantium. Stands about 55 meters tall. Its whole point. Guide ships along that pretty dangerous northwest coast of Iberia.
And it still does.
It still does. The Spanish maritime authorities run it as an active lighthouse. 2,000 years of continuous operation, almost. It's mind-boggling.
Wow. A 2,000-year safety beacon. And the original design, didn't it have like a ramp inside for hauling fuel up?
Yes, a spiral ramp. Pretty advanced for the time. Workers, maybe even animals, could haul fuel for the beacon fire right to the top. It really shows Rome's commitment to infrastructure, not just roads, but safe sea travel. Hugely important for trade, for communication, for the empire.
And it survived, physically.
It did. It got a major facelift in the 18th century, that neoclassical exterior you see now. But crucially, the original Roman core inside, largely preserved. That speaks volumes about how well it was built in the first place. Its inherent strength.
Okay, so we've hit Rome pretty hard, but brilliant engineering wasn't just Roman, right? Let's jump forward a bit. Medieval period. There's a bridge in France with a fantastic story, Pont Valentin in Cahors.
Yes, the Pont Valentin, a really striking piece of medieval military engineering. Took ages to build, 70 years, from 1308 to 1378. It crosses the Lot River, about 172 meters long, but it wasn't just a bridge, it was a fortress entrance, basically.
Defensive, you mean?
Totally defensive. 6 pointed arches, standard Gothic style, but anchored by 3 massive square towers. They originally had gates, portcullises, ready for a siege. It's that perfect medieval blend. Stark, functional, military, but also kind of beautiful and imposing.
And people have been using it to cross the river ever since, for over 7 centuries.
Never stopped. Now it's pedestrianized, used for festivals, historical events. It connects today's community just like it connected medieval Cahors.
But the story,
yeah,
the legend, that's the really fun part, isn't it?
Oh, the devil legend, yes. It's a classic tale. The master builder, he's getting frustrated. The bridge is taking too long.
So he makes a pact with the devil, right? Help me finish and you get my soul.
Exactly. But then when the bridge is done, the builder gets clever. He tells the devil, okay, final task, go fetch water for the mortar in this sieve.
Ha! Can't be done.
Right. The devil's furious, cheated, so he vows revenge, saying he'll loosen one stone from the central tower every single night.
And that's why, during a restoration in the 19th century, the architect actually added a little carved devil up there, clinging to a stone.
Precisely. Paul Gout, the architect. A brilliant little touch, acknowledging the local folklore, embedding the story right back into the structure. It shows how infrastructure becomes more than just stone and function. It becomes part of the community's identity, a living monument holding stories.
It really bridges time, in more ways than one. Okay, from defense to entertainment. How did ancient venues manage to keep drawing crowds? The Roman Theater of Orange in France.
Another incredible Roman structure. Built early 1st century CE, Emperor Augustus this time. Part of Rome's push to, spread Roman culture in newly conquered Gaul.
And it was huge, wasn't it? How many people could it hold?
Estimates are around 5,000 to 7,000 people. Think about organizing the labor to build something that size back then. It shows the power and resources Rome had and how important these public gatherings were.
What went on there? Plays?
Plays, yes. Pantomimes, music, public speeches, religious ceremonies. It was a real hub of civic life. The most amazing feature visually is that massive stage wall, the Scani Franz. It's nearly 37 meters high. Just building that.
Must have been an immense undertaking.
An incredible feat of engineering. And they weren't just building big, they were building smart. The acoustics.
Ah, the acoustics are famous, right?
Legendary. The semicircular design, the materials they used, it all works together so well that even today, you often need very little amplification for big performances.
And it's still used for performances.
Oh, yes. Most notably, it hosts a major annual opera festival. International stars, big audiences. Gathering in the same space people gathered almost 2,000 years ago. It speaks to that timeless need for communal experience, for performance.
So we've looked at these grand visible structures, aqueducts, lighthouses, theaters, but some of the most crucial ancient engineering, it's hidden, isn't it, under our feet? Let's talk about Rome's hidden lifeline, the Cloaca Maxima.
Ah, the Great Sewer. Possibly one of the most important yet least glamorous feats of Roman engineering, or rather starting even before them. It was commissioned way back in the 6th century BCE by Etruscan kings, actually, before Rome was really Rome.
What was its first job?
Simple. Drain the swamp. The low-lying marshy area between Rome's hills. That area later became the Roman Forum, the heart of the city. So draining it made the land usable, habitable. It literally laid the foundation for Rome's growth.
And then the Romans took it over and expanded it.
Exactly. Over centuries, they lined the original open channels with stone, vaulted them over, turned it into this complex underground network for sanitation and flood control.
And the craziest part? Bits of it are still working today, integrated into modern Rome's drainage system.
It's astonishing, isn't it? Still carrying stormwater runoff down to the Tiber River. After maybe 2,600 years. The engineering was clever. Big blocks of stone, like tuff and travertine, fitted tightly, often without mortar again. And crucially, built with a slight continuous gradient so water always flowed.
Basic principles we still use.
Absolutely. It was a massive leap in public health. It allowed Rome to become incredibly dense, one of the biggest cities in the ancient world. It set a standard for urban sanitation for centuries. Modern engineers still look at it, as a model for sustainable, long-lasting infrastructure. It enabled the very heart of the empire to exist.
Okay, so if we pull all these threads together, the aqueduct, the screw, the lighthouse, the bridge, the theater, the sewer, what's the big takeaway?
I think collectively they show us some core principles, right? A really deep, almost intuitive grasp of physics, mastery of the materials they had available, and this relentless drive to solve practical problems for their communities. It shows that great design isn't just about looking good or working now. It's about building in resilience, adaptability, thinking long-term, creating something so fundamentally sound it can outlast empires.
Yeah, each one is like a window back in time, proof that good ideas, good engineering can echo for millennia. And for you, listening, maybe it's a chance to look at the buildings or infrastructure around you a bit differently, to appreciate the foundations, sometimes literally, that our modern lives are built on. See that human ingenuity shining through. What an incredible trip through time that was. Channeling water, guiding ships, putting on shows, even managing waste. These ancient structures aren't just surviving, they're thriving, still doing their jobs.
It does make you think, though, doesn't it? As we build our cities today with all our computers and advanced materials, are we building with that same focus on longevity, on adaptability, on fundamental usefulness? What will our legacy look like in 2,000 years? Will anything we build today still be working?
That is definitely something to mull over. A really powerful question. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into these ancient wonders that refuse to quit. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep digging into what makes our world so endlessly fascinating.
If you enjoy this video, please like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell to the later update from my channel. Thank you for watching till the end, and see you in the next video.